Note-taking. The more strategies you use in your study, the greater your chances of success. Taking notes in class and from your reading is a proven way of organising information and remembering what is learnt. When you take notes, you are recording information visually as well as hearing it. This helps you understand, make connections, and remember. Note-taking allows you to better focus your attention on the topic and concentrate on what is being said. It also provides you with information for assignments and any tests. I often have students say, I can't read a text and understand it. I just can't take it all in when I read. Learning by seeing and doing is very powerful. However, in most training and university courses, reading for learning is still a very large component of how information is delivered. It also provides you with information for assignments and any tests. I often have students say, I can't just read a text and understand it. I can't take it all on board. Learning by seeing and doing is very powerful. However, in most VET courses, reading for learning is still a fairly large component of how information is delivered, how the knowledge part is delivered. So you do need to put some effort into actively reading, particularly if reading is not one of your preferred learning styles, including using some note-taking techniques to support the absorption of the information and your understanding of the information. Anything that you don't understand, you need to highlight or make a page of notes of questions to ask your trainer in class and get their input on what you haven't understood from the reading. Use them in class to fill in those gaps. Now on page 42, the guide, the Success For You guide, talks about note-taking as if you're being presented with a lecture. So similar to this audio presentation, if the trainer is talking and you're madly, hurriedly trying to take down notes. That's a very common format for university, but much less so for vocational training. Though of course, if you're engaged in online training, you might have some audio lecture style presentations similar to this. But in the training room, in the classroom, it's more of a conversation, more of a back and forth interchange between trainer and students and across and between different students also. The tips at the top of page 42 though, tips to help you, are relevant regardless of we're talking note-taking from reading material, which is more commonly what you would use note-taking for, or note-taking in a lecture style presentation. So good note-taking takes practice. You need to record the key points as you listen or read. Be prepared with pens, notepaper, computer, etc. That's particularly for a lecture style presentation. Start on a new page for each new session or new reading. Organise your notes, so add the date, the title, the source or the presenter's name. Leave a wide margin and write on one side of the page. This allows you to add extra parts in as needed. Sometimes I put different pieces of information together on a topic and that helps my understanding, and I need to go back and add to an earlier misunderstanding or not at least full understanding when I read something further on. And if you've left plenty of space, wide margins, there's no problem with doing that. It's easy to do. Look at any handouts so that you can highlight any connections. Number your pages and use your own words. And I can't emphasize that enough. Use your own words for all learning situations, answers to questions, and so on. To copy a text word shows you can find the right part in the text, and that's about it. To reword something in your own words shows you understand what you've read and you can explain it. Your own words stick with you much better than simply copying the words of someone else. If you feel like you can't put something in your own words, then you have to ask yourself the question, well, do I really understand this? Use abbreviations and punctuation to help you understand your notes later. Cut down the information as much as possible without losing the meaning. Write clearly so you can interpret your handwriting later, and use any pauses to add in missed information. On page 43 of the Success for You guide, it gives you some suggested symbols and abbreviations for note-taking. There's all sorts of things you can do, and basically you just need to come up with a system that's consistent for you. I've had the same few abbreviations to do with my field of education for years. So things like CHN instead of writing children. Every single time I need to write the word children, I write CHN. Likewise, education, EDN. From there, that N on the end of words just became a way I finished any word with shun on the end of it. So I stick with a fairly consistent pattern over time, and it's become what I use. So I can read my own notes. Somebody else probably couldn't read my notes. It doesn't matter. Your notes are for you. So depending on what the field is that you're studying, just develop a system of common words and how you're going to abbreviate them, and fairly soon after using them you'll start to use the same ones and develop your system.